Alexander the Great was born in Pella, the capital of Macedon, in 356 BCE. He was destined for greatness. Even as a young boy, Alexander showed signs of ambition and intelligence. He was a skilled rider, a fierce warrior, and a charismatic leader. His father was King Philip II, a powerful ruler who dreamed of conquering Persia. Alexander's mother was Olympias, a proud and strong-willed woman. She claimed descent from Achilles, the hero of the Trojan War. She instilled in Alexander a belief in his own destiny. She told him he was destined to achieve great things. Alexander's tutor was Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers of all time. Aristotle taught Alexander about philosophy, logic, and science. He also instilled in Alexander a love of learning and a thirst for knowledge. Alexander would carry these lessons with him throughout his life. Alexander's life was short but impactful. He died at the age of 32, having conquered most of the known world. He is still remembered today as one of the greatest military commanders in history. He left behind a legacy that continues to inspire and fascinate people around the world. Alexander received a privileged education. He was taught by Aristotle himself. He learned philosophy, literature, science, and the art of war. Alexander excelled in all areas. He was a quick learner and a deep thinker. He was also physically strong and a skilled horseman. One famous story tells of Alexander taming the wild horse Bucephalus. No one else could ride the powerful animal, but Alexander sensed his fear and spoke to him gently. He successfully mounted and rode Bucephalus, who became his loyal companion throughout his conquests. This event showed Alexander's courage and his ability to connect with even the most challenging creatures. Aristotle instilled in Alexander a love of Greek culture. Alexander was an admirer of Homer's epics, the Iliad and the Odyssey. These stories of heroes and their exploits fueled his own ambitions. He saw himself as a new Achilles, destined to conquer the East. Alexander's education shaped his character and worldview. It prepared him for the challenges he would face as a ruler and a conqueror. Throughout his life, Alexander sought to spread Greek culture and learning throughout his empire. He believed in the power of education to civilize the world. Philip II was assassinated in 336 BCE. Alexander, just 20 years old, ascended to the throne. Many Greek city-states saw Philip's death as an opportunity to rebel. Alexander swiftly crushed the uprisings. He demonstrated his military prowess and ruthlessness. After securing Greece, Alexander turned eastward. Determined to fulfill his father's legacy, he planned to invade Persia. Section 4, Persia Falls, Alexander's conquests in the east. Alexander's march eastward continued. He faced a formidable foe in Darius III, the Persian king. The two armies clashed at the Battle of Issus in 333 BCE. This battle was a decisive victory for Alexander. He routed the Persian forces and Darius himself fled the battlefield. This victory gave Alexander control of the eastern Mediterranean coast. Instead of pursuing Darius, Alexander turned south. He conquered Tyre and Gaza, important cities on the Mediterranean coast. He then entered Egypt, where he was welcomed as a liberator. The Egyptians had long chafed under Persian rule, and they saw Alexander as a savior. Alexander continued his pursuit of Darius. The two armies met again at the Battle of Gaugamela in 331 BCE. This battle, fought near the ruins of Nineveh, was a masterpiece of military strategy. Alexander once again outmaneuvered and defeated the Persians. Darius fled again, and Alexander became the undisputed ruler of the Persian Empire. Section 5, Pharaoh Alexander, a new capital in Egypt. In Egypt, Alexander was crowned pharaoh. He was seen as a god-king by the Egyptians. He respected their customs and traditions. He made offerings to their gods. He also founded the city of Alexandria at the mouth of the Nile River. This city, named in his honor, would become a center of learning and commerce in the Hellenistic world. Alexandria was strategically located. It became a major port city, linking trade between the Mediterranean Sea and the Indian Ocean. The city was home to the famous Library of Alexandria, which housed the largest collection of scrolls in the ancient world. It attracted scholars and scientists from all over the Hellenistic world. Alexander's time in Egypt was a period of consolidation and cultural exchange. He integrated Egyptian culture into his growing empire. He adopted some of their customs and beliefs. He presented himself as a pharaoh, further solidifying his power and legitimacy in the eyes of his new subjects. Section 6. To the edge of the world, Alexander's march to India. After conquering the Persian Empire, Alexander turned his attention eastward. He led his army across the Hindu Kush mountains into India. He was driven by a thirst for new conquests and a desire to reach the eastern edge of the world. He fought a series of battles against Indian kings, including the famous Battle of the Hydaspes River against King Porus. The Battle of the Hydaspes River was one of Alexander's most difficult battles. The Indian army was larger and had war elephants, which were unfamiliar to the Macedonians. Despite these challenges, Alexander emerged victorious. He was impressed by Porus's courage and allowed him to remain as a vassal king. This demonstrated Alexander's respect for worthy opponents. Alexander's men, exhausted from years of campaigning, eventually refused to go any further. They yearned for home. Reluctantly, Alexander agreed to turn back. He had reached the Indus River, the easternmost limit of his conquests. Section 7. The legacy of a king, Alexander's death and lasting impact. Alexander returned to Babylon, the capital of his vast empire. He fell ill and died there in 323 BCE at the age of 32. Despite his short reign, Alexander's impact on history was profound. He spread Greek culture throughout his empire. This fusion of Greek and Eastern cultures gave rise to the Hellenistic period. Alexander's legacy continues to inspire and fascinate people today.